What's up everyone, this is NyhlekDreams, and we've got the new Sir Lancelot spear in the game. It's finally here, and Epic didn't let us down with this one. It is a crazy good melee weapon to be using. Ever since I saw some news floating around about it coming to save the world, I've been really excited to get to test it out, and when I saw that it had a base crit chance of 25%, I was really hoping they were going to allow us to put a nice crit build on it, and they definitely provided. So if you don't already have your hands on this weapon, you can get it from the weekly items for 1680 gold. I definitely recommend that you pick it up. Don't miss out on it. It is a really good melee weapon to have. But we'll go ahead and back out and head to the schematics so that we can see the build that we put on it. And I personally went with a double crit damage and a crit rating build with a little bit of added damage here. And the reason that I built it this way is because ever since the recombobulator, crit builds have been really well off and they've been performing greatly. You can see that we have a crit chance of 53%, so over half the time we're going to be critting for 320% of our damage here. And the second reason that I built it this way is because of the primary hero that we decided to put in the commander slot, which was Deadly Blade Crash, and we'll head over and look at her perks and abilities. She's got the Throwing Stars, Crescent Kick, and Dragon Slash, but the main reason that we went with her is because of her perk Corrosive Strikes here. Melee critical hits apply 30% snare and affliction, which deals 87% of damage dealt each second for 3 seconds. This is the reason that we went with this, is because we're going to go with a high crit damage build, and when we hit those crits, it's going to be doing 80% of the damage that we hit. So if we hit a crit for around 200k, we should be seeing affliction ticks every second for 3 seconds that'll be hitting upwards of 170 or 180k. I've already done a build similar to this, and I'll be putting that link in the description if you want to go check it out. But this is just a powerhouse of a hero for the melee department. She's been doing really great, and she's one of the strongest picks for DPS in the game right now, and definitely one of your better picks for melee in general. If you can get a weapon with a nice crit chance and crit damage, this commander perk with the corrosive strikes here is phenomenal with that 87% damage on each affliction tick. It does so much damage, and it's almost as if you're hitting the target with a second weapon. But I know that we'll have some people here that were looking for a spear loadout and the heroes that were revolving around the spears themselves, so we can back out and I'll show you a comparison and explain why I believe that Deadly Blade Crash would be more beneficial. The first choice that we have is Piercing Lotus Edge, which would be increasing the spear heavy attack efficiency by 200%, and then the second choice would be Deadly Lotus Luna, which is increasing the spear damage by 50% to any afflicted targets, and spears will also apply affliction, which deal 18.5% weapon damage per second for 3 seconds. This one would undoubtedly be better than the Piercing Lotus Edge. The Lotus Edge one doesn't really focus on any extra damage increase, but it does give that ability to continue spamming the heavy attack. However, the animation is kind of delayed and there's not a way to actually spam it, so you wouldn't really be able to constantly use it, and that kind of in turn hinders your damage, which leaves us with comparing Deadly Lotus Luna to Deadly Blade Crash. And you do get that 50% raw damage increase with Luna, which is great. If you want to run her in your primary commander slot, go for it. She's a great hero to use, but I do believe that the 87% damage from the critical affliction hits from Deadly Blade Crash will be a larger DPS outcome, in the sense that while those larger affliction hits are going off and ticking on the enemy, you can do your primary damage with your attack chain from your spear, and it's almost as if you're hitting from 2 points with 2 different spears doing almost the same amount of damage. And that's why I personally believe that this will ultimately be a better build, but you can all feel free to go test this out yourself, and we'll go ahead and hop into the rest of the loadout. So in the team perk slot, we've got Bio Energy Source. This is going to pair up really well, as when we are using the spear heavy attack, we charge through many husks and we can kill a lot of them at once, and that pairs really great with our rapid charge perk here, because as we're using that energy, we're also going to be replenishing it from the husk kills that we get through charging into the enemies and killing them. So this will replenish your energy that you use while also replenishing your shield, and consistently be able to max out your energy and your shields at the same time. And then for the support team, we have Pointy Fury, which is the increased spear heavy attack efficiency by 65%, Assassination, which is a raw damage increase per stack, and you can get up to 5 stacks. Poking Holes increases your spear damage by 25% against afflicted targets, and this will be triggering off of Corrosive Strikes, as Deadly Blade Crash also applies that affliction. Tail of the Dragon is just to add on a little bit of damage to the Dragon Slash itself. You could swap this out for the increased range on Dragon Slash if you wanted, or maybe Survivalist if you wanted a little bit extra sustain. And in that last slot, we have that Rapid Charge, which is melee weapon eliminations, grant 7.5 energy, which is going to keep us topped up on the energy and be be able to replenish our shields with bioenergy source like mentioned before. And in the gadgets we got slow field and adrenaline rush. You can switch these up how you see fit, but this is just going to kind of give us a little bit more survivability, and in the times that you want to control the fight you can throw this out and slow the husk down, or use it as a defense if you're getting overrun and the objective is getting attacked too much. But let's go ahead and hop into some gameplay and we'll see how this spear stacks up and see how it performs with this build. Now, one of the things that you're really going to notice with Sir Lancelot, aside from the high damage, is the ability for the heavy attack to replenish your shields while having bioenergy source slotted in the team perk. And this is one of the main reasons that I can't recommend Underdog or Preemptive Strike to replace it, is because the synergy between rapid charge and the support and bioenergy source pairing with the heavy attack, just being able to go through a group of husks and kill them and replenish that energy while at the same time using the energy to replenish your shield, it's just too great to pass up for the sustain. I mean, you could go with the extra damage from preemptive, and sometimes you would get a larger hit and end up maybe one-shotting, and that's a great factor. If you want to go for that, definitely try it out your own way. But I can't really say that it would be the best to use at all times, because a lot of times with melee you end up trying to jump from target to target in the fight, and you'll notice that your team actually tags the husk that you're going for before you have a chance to land your first hit, and since it's not at full health you won't actually be able to trigger preemptive strike, so you'll miss out on that damage from it. And that happens way too often to make it something that you would want to use as a primary source. Instead, I think that the sustain from the bioenergy source will keep you in the fight longer, and thus being a better choice in the long run. And with such a high crit damage, we're really trying to push that crit number to see the most out of the follow-up affliction damage, and in some cases be able to just walk away from a husk because of the power behind the affliction from Deadly Blade Crash. That 87% affliction damage after a crit is such great follow through when you're able to just hit a blaster or a taker one time and then move on to the next target without any worries that it's going to kill it because the damage is so high from it. And the raw damage of Sir Lancelot itself is actually really close to the Spectral Blade, so much that you would need to compare the two and see which one is actually better. And I know a lot of people are curious, but I think that the Spectral Blade would still come out on top just due to its usefulness in the heavy attack, being able to teleport. But both of them have their specific uses, and in this build alone I think that you can have more survivability with pairing the rapid charge and the heavy attack with bioenergy source in order to get that synergy and keep that sustain. One thing that I've noticed while using the Spectral Blade is it's really easy to spam the heavy attack, and you don't get as many kills from the heavy attack from Spectral Blade as you do with the Sir Lancelot when you charge through a group of husks. So you kind of end up missing out on some of your energy regain in terms of pairing it with that bioenergy source. And in most cases you would likely want to use Endless Shadow in the team perk when using the Spectral Blade as well, because you're very likely going to try and use Swordmaster Kin, in which case you'll need your shadow stance in order to maintain your 25% sword damage buff. So ultimately there are pros and cons to running either or in a build. Some might say that one comes out on a damage victor, but others might say that the survivability is a more important factor, and in most cases it can be. If you're dead, you're not doing any DPS, so you might want to go with the survivability, in which case the Sir Lancelot is a great build for you. But if you're more of a go in and just get as much damage as possible, then Spectral Blade could potentially be better due to its usefulness and its heavy attack and being able to close gaps on the battlefield. But either way, I think that both of them are really great melee weapons, and both are contenders for top slot in the melee department right now. One thing that I would like to mention is there is a bug with Sir Lancelot right now, and I do believe that David Dean found some sort of collision glitch in which you can end up running into some sort of invisible wall and not actually play out the animation for your charge in your heavy attack from Sir Lancelot. So this is kind of an issue that needs to be fixed right now for it to perform at its max capabilities, but once it does get fixed, I think that the Spectral Blade and Sir Lancelot are your top choices for melee. And the last thing that I would like to say is this is up for your playstyle. Build the weapon how you want. If you like attack speed, go for attack speed. But for the loadout that I was using, this better suited it with the high crit damage numbers and being able to trigger a higher affliction outcome through that. This game is what you make of it though, and in the end it's your experience that matters, so go for a playstyle that suits you and you might end up finding something better for yourself. But that's about it for this video, guys. Let me know what you all think about Sir Lancelot in the comments. I'm really interested in your thoughts on it, and for me personally, I'm going to be using it for some time to come. I'm really glad to see a spear that's good and fun to be using in the game, and I'm proud of Epic with the direction they've been going with these updates lately. Again, I just want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.